I'm really excited to get the opportunity to chat with the two of you. Thank you so much for hopping on this call. Our goal is really to just kind of have a casual conversation and just learn about your progress in hopes that we can share your story and hopefully bless the lives of other people. Dan and Kay have a really great program that they've constructed from the ground up, and really just want to get your take on what it's been like and hopefully hear some great news. So does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So with that said, let's just dive right in. So I guess if you guys don't mind, just like give me a little overview of who you are. Like tell me a little bit about your family, like, your ages, maybe children, like just give me something to kind of get to know you.
Yeah, I'm 26, he's 25.
Cool.
We have been married for 5 years.
Nice.
We have 2 little girls. Our oldest, she'll be 3 in March. And then our youngest, she is 16 months, I think.
Sounds about right.
They're super close in age. They're like 16-ish months apart. So they keep us busy.
Yeah.
We recently moved down to Phoenix. We both just finished up school in BYU.
Okay.
So I graduated last April. Cameron was the year before, and I had a remote job, so we decided to mix it up a little bit and move down here.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I've actually never been to Arizona. I've heard great things. I've coached several clients from there. I was in the Navy 10 years. I've served with several people from there, and they just really, really enjoy it. So my hope is that your experience mirrors that as well. Awesome. Okay. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your pre-Centsei financial life? Like, so before you joined the Personal Finance Accelerator, what was your financial life like? And, just maybe like a thousand foot view.
I think we both had a little bit different approaches, honestly. We tried a couple of different programs to like,
or apps. Things like
apps, or like a binder, like the envelope approach.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like I was very much like in school and just, I'm going to work and make money and not ever really check the money. And I wasn't really a spender or a saver. I just would try to work, but then like I did nothing to help manage. So I was very much like off the finances and just like felt like I was doing my part on that side, which wasn't always very helpful.
Okay.
So I did manage it more, and we weren't ever like in, I would say, like trouble. Like we were never like struggling through school. We were very blessed, and we didn't really have debt or anything like that. Just scraped by, really.
Yes.
But it was once Dexter graduated and he got, the big boy jobs that paid big money, and it was more money, than we'd ever had.
Yep.
And we did not have something in place. And so also moving states, we kind of just we're like, okay, we'll just spend what we need to spend to move and to like get set up in our house and things like that. And we'd put it on credit cards. And then once we were like situated, we're like, wait, now it doesn't feel like we're like paying off the credit cards. Like, what's happening? So, we didn't have anything in place that allowed us to get back on track.
Okay.
The lifestyle creep was very real.
Yeah.
Oh man, it gets all of us, right? Like it's so funny that you say that, because I literally teach this for a living, right? Like I do this full time. I've been a financial coach since 2017 in some capacity, and I'm not even immune to it. And that's why I think systems are so great, because they kind of like force you to stay in the vein of like, hey, wait a minute, I know this is effective, as opposed to just being like, I'm making more money, so let me go ahead and buy more stuff, or whatever it might be. I really like the start of your story though, because believe it or not, it's atypical. More often than not, when we get a lot of clients, they're like drowning in debt and like they're trying to figure it out. But for you, it sounds like it's almost a story of going from like doing okay to like having a hiccup, but then really turning to like optimization, as opposed to like some like rebirth from the ashes type story, which is really cool, actually, refreshing, if I may.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, because honestly, like I would consider it like more of just like a hiccup. It was like like honestly, we just had this vision of like when we moved down here, we're like, okay, we know we're gonna acquire some debt to move, but then it was like, oh, we'll pay it off, and then we want to work with like a financial coach or something to kind of like figure out a better process. But then like 3 months later, we were like,
the numbers haven't changed.
yeah, we're like, we're not really getting to where we want to be. So then we're like, okay, now let's find a coach and figure out how to work through this better than like what we were currently doing.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was like the moment you would say, like you tried by yourself a couple of months, the numbers didn't change, and then you say, maybe let's get like somebody outside of our four walls to kind of help us out with this.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like let's think back possibly to the first 90 days. You start working with Felipe,
Mhm.
and you're kind of being acclimated to what we call affectionately in Sensei the boot camp phase. Right. So that first like kind of booster shot of like, whoa, here's your material. You're going to learn this. We're going to kind of work with you shoulder to shoulder, implement the system, educate. What was that like? Like, were there any changes that you noticed within your own household financially that you weren't really expecting? Or just tell me about that for a little bit.
I feel like I'm not sure what the word is, but I feel like we were able to take it on really not easily. It wasn't like super easy at first by any means, but we're both the kind of people that are like, hey, if you lay it out for us, we'll just do it.
Nice.
And so I don't know, speaking for myself personally, it is hard I'm more of a spender. He's more of a in the middle guy,
Okay.
but I can also save it. Like, so having this system is very helpful because I have my allotted spending and I have everything I get to spend money on. Like I buy the groceries, I do this,
Yeah.
So it was an adjustment to be like, okay, I have to watch these numbers.
Yeah.
And that did feel kind of like frustrating to me at first, but after I would say a month, it became very freeing.
Mhm.
To be like, okay, I know my number, and it kind of became like a game, specifically like with groceries, like how low can I get this?
Yeah, I love it.
But I don't know, it was hard, but I feel like it was kind of naturally,
Yeah.
I don't know, not easy, but we fell into it pretty naturally.
Nice. So like really organic transition.
Yeah.
I also really appreciate the transparency, like that it was kind of challenging at first when it came to like, wait a minute, you mean I can't just spend everything I want, right? And so that's real, but also good outlook on like kind of gamifying it. I feel like when people do that, they really get good results, because then rather than it being like a restriction, you kind of reframe that into it's really freeing, right? Like you spend the money on the stuff that you know you want to spend it on, and then the rest of it goes towards your goals and you make progress. So I love that. Perfect. Anything else you guys want to add, Dexter, or anything?
I think the biggest thing was just being able to have like financial conversations a lot easier, like with each other. Like it used to be like I felt like a lot of the time I just avoided the conversation and I didn't really want to talk about it. I was like, we can talk about these things. I'm like, I don't, it wasn't like I didn't outright say like I don't want to talk about it, but I think I would subconsciously maybe try to change the conversation sometimes, and like I avoided the conversations. But now it's like with having a check-in, it's like we'll have conversations during the week if we need to, but like we can push conversations off and like, okay, like as long as it's not urgent, we can set aside time on Sunday. We don't need to worry about it or stress about it and let it like affect other times during the week. But like we can say like, we're going to talk about financial things on this day, unless we really need to, like we'll talk about it. But it's nice to not have like the stress of like knowing like one or the other could bring up something that might not be the easiest conversation to have right then at that moment,
Well, because I think because we didn't talk about it very often, our conversations became frustrating really fast because we had so many built up emotions about the finances.
Right.
And it was so nice. I'm not saying he didn't care about the finances, but I did stress all the time.
Mhm.
So it's nice to like share the load now. Like it's like I have on like our weekly check-in list, like, I have my things I do and he has his things he does, and then we come together and talk about them. And it's just
That's music right there to my ears.
I'm
Like,
stressed.
so well, hey, Felipe, if you watch this video, well done. That is like a 4.0 approach when it comes to managing it as a couple, right? I think your experience is that part is actually really typical. What we find is like you have one spouse or one partner that's like really wanting to kind of get into the finances, and then the other one is, I'd rather have a root canal than do this, right? And that experience is pretty typical. But I think you said it perfectly in that you kind of can live your life knowing that you have this protected space to do your finances, and then when you do it, you're off the hook. You can go do the other things that you want to do, right, and not have to worry about it all the time. So I really, really love that approach. I'm glad it's been working for you. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on is if you could give me some of the results that you guys have experienced, just kind of anything you want to share, highlight reel, as big or as little, wins for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think to just hit a hard number, like we were able to pay off, like as of last week, like $6,000 in debt in like the first
3 months.
I think 3 months.
We started in October.
Yeah.
So
So that was like a big win last week. Was like we paid off on one of our credit cards and we hit that total number, and it was very freeing to like look at this next year and be like, we should be able to get out of debt this next year and start to focus on bigger things.
Beautiful. Congrats on that. That's like the first step, right? You pay that off, and then you can really go, as you say, focus on other things, namely building wealth, right? At that point, because your net worth starts to go up instead of paying off the things that you already had. So love that for you. Okay. This next one's a little tougher, and there's no right or wrong answer, but what do you think having a coach, like a third party, unbiased, if you will, how did that change the way you look at money or benefit you? Or did it?
It's nice to not, I don't know, like I felt like the bad guy a lot of the time when like it came to like we needed to talk about money, or like I was the one bringing up things that neither one of us wanted to talk about. But it's nice to have our coach, like he leads, like he's led the conversation and he talks about the hard things and like gives us ideas for how we can change it, or like I don't know, the whole program has given us so many more ideas for how we can better our finances, and that like third party person, I don't know, it eases the tension for us. But
I think it's the extra layer of accountability too. Like something we've done is like, you have like a personal trainer, other like another areas of life, like people like, oh, I get a personal trainer, help me with fitness, etc. And it makes a lot of sense, but like finances might not be like, as like, oh, I need somebody to help keep me accountable, right? But you get somebody with experience who has helped other people through similar situations, knows what you're going through. And then that layer of accountability where, like, okay, I need to get this done and work through these things. We need to have these conversations by the time we meet next week. And I think it's the added layer really pushes us to get in motion to like start the habits, right? Because I think that's always the hardest thing is like, be like, oh, like when we're gonna do the envelope thing, but then we do it one day and then all of a sudden 3 weeks later we haven't done it again. And so pushing us to like start to break the mold and like get into the habits. And now it's a lot easier to make sure we have our check-ins and have these conversations, and maybe the accountability isn't as necessary, but it's still super important. Right. But definitely for like getting off the ground, it was really crucial.
And I'll just add to that too. I remember in our first call with Felipe, I was emotional because I just felt so like embarrassed about our situation. And having the third party was very like, he was reassuring, like, no, it's not gonna, like, this isn't gonna be forever. This isn't like, you guys are gonna get through it. And that was nice to hear it from someone who doesn't even know us, like our situation. Like that was also kind of freeing for me. Like, okay, it's good. Like what we're doing is good. We had our little hiccup, but now we're getting out of it. So.
Oh, that's great. I'm a really big fan, just on a personal level, of normalizing talking about money. I don't know your particular background, but like for me, I received no financial education growing up, right? And so like there is nothing to be embarrassed by. I remember like we joined the Navy. Hannah and I were young, like we just got married. I think we were like 23 at the time. And I got like one promotion, and it was at that time, it was the most money we had ever made in my life. It wasn't much, but up to that point, we were like, hey, this is great. So we made this horrible decision to start like, we bought a new car and we used credit cards. And like, before you know it, we looked around and we're like, oh my goodness, how are we going to get out of this? And life changes, right? I'm 37 and I've been following a similar system for a decade and some now, right? And the difference is incredible. And so I just want you to know that like truly what he said is real. There's nothing to be, ashamed or embarrassed by. And I think honestly, it says volumes about the two of you that you were willing to reach out for help instead of just like suffering in silence. So mad props there. I think that's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Other question that I have is, so there's a lot of tools that we give you. Does one like your favorite? Has anything stood out to you where you're like, man, this was great? I know we've talked about the check-in. Anything else?
For me, the first thing that comes to mind is like, I know we have like the cap budget and specifically like the short-term savings. I love the way the short-term savings is planned out because like just the ability to plan out a vacation ahead of time and like put that money aside in increments. So it's not like a massive hit that you got to like think about how you're going to find that money by the time the holiday comes. Like, oh, you buy the flights and the hotel, whatever, and then you show up and where's all this money going to come from? And then all the little things too, like, like birthdays and things that come up, like baby showers, etc. Like you have that money set apart and you're planning for it. And I like the way it's laid out to make it really simple. So you can look ahead at the year. Like right now it's fantastic. We kind of are excited for the year to start already. So we can just like be like, like each month, like, okay, like we know what we're putting in this short-term savings. We know each month we're going to have that money for whatever is going to come and not be as worried about like unexpected expenses, like be a lot more planned out and feel like we have money set aside for kind of things that might come our way.
Yeah, like we already planned our year because we knew we were going to have some trips and things, and we're like, okay, this already feels like so much less stressful.
Yeah.
And doable. Like before it was like, oh, I guess we'll just have to use this much money, even though it's going to drop this account to this, to buy the flights. But now it's like, oh, we're not even really dipping into any accounts. We're just putting money aside. So
systematically. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
good.
That's honestly, that's a rare answer. I think that full transparency, short-term savings is a pretty, foreign concept to a lot of clients. And so like, that actually kind of makes my inner coach smile. That's the thing that you really like. I think the one that we normally get is probably like weekly check-in, Monarch money, or the roadmap are probably the three most consistent answers. So well done having like a really good mastery on the short-term savings, and honestly impressed that you already started thinking about 2026 and like budgeting those numbers ahead of time. I think usually people start thinking about this like middle of January, so good job that you're ahead of the game there. I love it.
It helped. I mean, we started to we kept putting it as like a to-do, and then our coach was like, our last meeting in December, like, come ready with the numbers, and so it was like good to like help push us over the finish line to like get it all together.
Yeah.
So now it's a lot more comfortable heading into the year.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I just have two other questions. So the next one is thinking in the future. So you guys are young, right? Which is great. I think working with young clients is one of the best. I also work with retirees, as do some of our other coaches, but I think getting into a program like this younger means you have so much gas in the tank. You can benefit from this for so long, right? And then maybe you can turn around and like teach your children about it, right? To kind of enrich their lives as well. So my question is, learning this type of financial stuff at this age, how do you think it changes your future?
I feel excited about our financial future. Like we are renting right now, and buying a house feels so much more attainable. Like, the world is so expensive right now. And when we graduated, we're like, we're never going to be able to buy a house ever. And so it feels way more attainable and sooner than we expected.
Mhm.
Like when we look at our numbers and like once the rest of our debt's paid off, looking at like, okay, look how much money we'll be putting away after that is done, like, and so that I'm excited. And we know like he has like some raises coming up and things, so like it's only going to get better as like even life goes on, like we'll just be able to, I don't know, I just love having control of our money. I don't like being controlled by money. And so I feel excited.
Yeah. I think the whole idea behind like, oh, we're only going to be like, obviously we don't know exactly what the future holds, but most likely our earnings are only going to increase over time.
Yep.
And to know like, okay, we got a handle on it now. And like, yeah, our family's probably going to grow and our expenses are going to increase, but we have a handle on it now. Most likely our earnings are probably going to increase more than our expenses are going to. And to know, like, yeah, we'll be able to do things faster than we expect. The other day, I even talked to Cameron about this. Like the other day I was in the car and I was like, oh, like, when we'll put aside money for the kids for for college or whatever. And I've been like, oh, well, like, I would love to like modify the program a little bit for like when they get out of high school and be like, obviously teach them financial stuff before them, but then be like, all right, like you can get the money as long as you like adhere to good financial practices, like we be their coach, like we love it. Like as long as you show you're going to be responsible, we can help you learn to manage your money. Yeah. And we're going to be helping you along the way too, and so I think that gets me excited to just feel like nothing against our parents, but to be able to help our kids with finances more than our parents did too. Like I get excited about that.
No, I love that. I do. I think it's one of those things that can often be neglected. I liken finances to like health, fitness, or maybe even like relationships or spirituality. They're kind of like in the same vein to me, in that if you have one of them successful, it tries to like, or not tries to, but like it does bleed in over into other areas, right? Because they're so all encompassing. And the other thing too is that really whatever you focus on, you succeed at, right? And so like if you're focused on, being the best partner or parent that you can be, you're likely going to do well. If you're focused on, I want this promotion at work, like I'm going to put my soul into this job, you're probably going to do well, right? And so I think finances are one of those things where, as you've seen, if you start to put the effort in there, you do well and you're able to pay it forward to your children. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Last question I have is just, and no right or wrong answer. I do just want full transparency. Last question is, what would you say to anybody on the fence or possibly considering about signing up for Centsei? Like, what's your recommendation on the program? And, just give your thoughts on that.
Obviously I would recommend it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the point of view with which I'd recommend it is like, use people who, like in talking about the coach earlier, I talked about how they have helped people from where you're at, maybe not the exact same situation. Mm-hmm. And to kind of hit this home over and over again, like you can spend 10 years trying to figure out a program that's going to be best for you. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of time and effort, and maybe it doesn't cost anything, but it's going to cost you money in that time and effort. Yeah. Like, why not go to people who have taken those 10 years of experience you need to go through, mm-hmm. and a wealth of other coaches and people, and put it together and have it ready for you right now. Mm-hmm. There's just a monetary cost attached to it. Like, I think that's just leagues more valuable to just, pay to have somebody help you rather than try to figure it out yourself, because you're going to have to learn all the hard lessons yourself instead of talk to somebody who's been through all the hard lessons. And so that's my big thing, is like, don't worry about the costs associated with it, the time. Like, take the lessons and experiences that other people have and run with that, and you'll be able to make so much progress rather than doing it on your own. Nice.
Yeah, that's a really comprehensive answer. I love I love that. Just thinking about like the opportunity cost of trying to figure it out yourself. I don't even know that I've considered that before, right? I think I'm really like technical with like the details of what the program offers. And, the thing I always talk about is like, well, it pays for itself, right? And that kind of thing. But that's interesting. I had never thought about, well, if you go at it yourself, like there's an associated invisible cost with that. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, just having the guide makes it so much easier so that we don't have to figure it out. Like, so you don't, like, we didn't have to do the research on
Right.
how to like fix our finances. Someone just guided us to it. And so I would say to people, like, if you're ready to make a change, do it. Like, my parents are doing it now.
That's
So,
awesome.
and they are in the very beginning stages. So it's just like they were ready, and I'm so glad that they're doing it. And I think I would also say to people, if you're ready for like finances to not feel so much like a burden, like just do it, because I feel like finances are refreshing to me now. They're not scary. I mean, I know things will happen where like, oh, an emergency or things like that, but I don't feel afraid of those things maybe like I used to. So
Nice.
a burden turned into like so refreshing. So it's great.
Powerful. I love it. Okay. Is there anything else that I asked everything on our agenda? Is there anything else that you guys just want to talk about or want to bring up, or, just kind of turn the mic over to you if there's anything you guys want to discuss?
Everybody is always like, oh, well, like I don't want to add a second job, or I don't want to do these uncomfortable things. I want to try to start the business or do the passive income. And like, I think we looked at it and we're like, these are all such great ideas for just like starting now. Like, just make the money now to get out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can worry, like, then you can be free and you can have more mind share and not be worrying about debt and these other things, to spend more time on building a business or looking into these other things that you can not have to worry about other things on the side. And I think that was really nice to go through that. And like, I would say that, like, if I could go back to us at the beginning of college, I'm like, oh my goodness, like,
done this then.
There's so many good ideas on there for just like how to make a little bit of extra money to help with your finances that I wish we had back then, and it would have helped us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think it's a classic case of all of us want to jump to like phase 3, like figuring out tomorrow, or in some cases 30 or 40 years from now, right? When really we just need to figure out today, like at the beginning, right? We got to figure out today so that we can make tomorrow brighter. Yeah, that's awesome.